You're such an asshole!
Hey everybody, Asshole Consulting. We have another kind doctor from obviously the medical field, and he watched the video on med school scams, specifically about the Caribbean medical schools. And so he thought he'd throw in his 2 cents. And seriously, guys, what I really ought to do is put together a playlist. I'm going to put this on YouTube and Dailymotion. By the way, all videos are going to be over at Dailymotion now for the week. We did our experiment with VidMe. Now we're moving on. I'll put together a playlist because there's been several doctors who've been kind enough to either write in, have me do videos, and provide some advice to prevent a lot of you kids from making some mistakes. And this isn't like, oh, I wasted a year as a journalism major and switched to STEM. If you go to med school and you incur $200,000 of debt and then you can't find a residency, holy shit. And on top of it, a lot of these doctors are saying that it's not worth becoming a doctor. If they were to do it all over again, they wouldn't become a doctor, because it's a huge investment, both monetarily and chronologically, in terms of your time and youth. So this doctor wanted to provide a little bit more information, so please heed his advice and share with anybody. I know we have one guy whose sister, I think, is not listening to him. She's going off to one of these Caribbean med schools, so hopefully we'll break through some people and help them out. The post-baccalaureate that is being referenced here is most likely the post-bac program offered at medical schools that is really a 5th year of college and a way to show the medical school that you are worth a spot. My medical school had a post-bac program that they offered to those that couldn't get in. If you paid them an additional $26,000 for a year of post-bac work in the program the medical school runs, you would be at minimum an interview. Also, a few of my classmates that were failing the first year were offered the program to help them learn to study. And then if they did well, they could restart their first year and pay for it again. The problem is you have to be at the med school for a year and pay for a year of nothing with the hopes of getting in to the med school. This might involve a move, renting an apartment, etc., expensive for no guarantee of admission. The pros of this approach are that you meet and work with a lot of the faculty at the med school and can get to know them, which will help your cause, and you are usually at least guaranteed an interview. So there is that. The cons are expensive. This is not a degree or anything, or really anything other than a tryout. And if you don't get into medical school, you still have to pay for the year. Great money maker for the school. I would love to recommend that you do something else for a year or two and reapply, period. Medical schools love non-traditional candidates. Non-traditional meaning right out of college and giving the textbook answer, I want to help people, when asked why they want to become a physician. I mean, probably people who don't give that answer is what you're saying. People with life experience and maturity are usually better interviewers and have great reasons to become physicians. I'm not familiar with the most recent statistics, but when I graduated medical school in 2003, the average stats for first-year medical students were age 24, already married with a child, and had a career/degree already. I have no idea what current stats are. The Caribbean schools are a bit of a scam, as they let anyone in if you can pay. The loans are from the American government student loans or private loans, so you have to pay them back. Can't say screw it, Antigua can come get me. So the American government could come get you. The private loans, I think those are dismissible, but you'd have to, again, talk to a bankruptcy lawyer. Yeah, but I'd like to see the government of Antigua come to get you. That being said, I do know a few physicians that have gone to these schools and gotten residency positions and are fine physicians. The issue is, if you go to a school in the Caribbean or anywhere other than the U.S., you're treated as a foreign medical graduate, FMG for short. This applies even if you are a U.S. citizen, and you may have to take an English proficiency test even if English is your first language and you are a citizen. I know back in the early 2000s you had to. No idea what the standard is now. The application process is much more arduous for residency, and you get looked at largely after the U.S. medical school osteopathic allopathic grads. And unless you are in the top 1% of U.S. MLE scores, you usually get a very rural or not as prestigious residency. It's the main reason you see a lot of FMGs and small or middle or nowhere residency programs. Now, you can get great training at smaller residency programs, but that is a topic for another post. I I've read a fair amount of discussion about mid-levels in the comments, physicians, assistants, and nurse practitioners. To be clear, they are not physicians. They are not the same. They are not as well trained, and there is a reason why they're not as paid as highly. Now, before those of you who are mid-levels come after me, I want to say that I respect them and they are very important to the healthcare field. I work with them, I am friends with them, and I do not disparage them. So please save your ire. They are well trained for the responsibilities that they are given. But the training is vastly different. I am a critical care physician, ICU specialist. I am a residency and fellowship trained in internal medicine. Where did it go? And critical care medicine. I am also board certified in these specialties. I'm not going to list it, because that would be a little bit too identifying. He continues on. Residency and fellowship is all bedside training in hospitals. I'm a physician at the point, but being trained in my specialties by other docs, nurses, etc. In contrast, a physician assistant, college 4 years, PA school 24 months, includes classroom learning and bedside teaching. Then they're usually hired by the physician hospital group and trained by the physicians that you work with in whatever field you want to specialize in. PAs almost always need a supervising physician and able to work. That physician can be available via phone or in the building. That depends on the state laws/regulations and specialty. Nurse practitioners. You need a nursing degree with a bachelor's of science in nursing, then 24 months of NP school, nurse practitioner school, and then similar to a physician's assistant in terms of hiring and training post-graduation. There are nurse anesthesiasts, maybe anesthesiologists. Why am I questioning a doctor? Anesthesiasts degrees that are similar but focus on they shoot you full of drug degrees. NPs in general have more training than a PA, and in certain states and in certain areas can practice independently of a supervising physician. I do not think this is a bad thing. I just want to show the difference in the training. It is significant between a physician and mid-levels. It comes down to pathophysiology. Medical school and residency/fellowship pretty much beats it into your head. In contrast, physician assistants and nurse practitioner school don't do much in the way of pathophysiology. At least not. I hope to God this makes sense to some people because I have no idea what's going on now. At least not nearly as much as medical school. PAs and NPs will learn in pathophysiology, mostly postgraduate, and taught by the docs that train them on the job. Easiest way to explain: nurse practitioner/physician's assistant schools. If A happens, then do B. You learn why after you graduate. Medical school, if A happens, why do you do B? What is the underlying mechanism, disease process? You don't graduate unless you learn the why, since that is all of medicine and you have to teach others. For a real-world example, a physician who was training me when I was a med student was also training a PA student at the same time. He was asking about the treatment of osteoporosis. He asked the PA student what drug to use and when. He then asked me, why do we use that drug and how it works? That's the difference. Okay, well, thank you very much, Doc. I appreciate it. I'm sure, I hope at least, our listeners appreciate that. Again, send that to anyone who's interested in becoming a nurse practitioner or a physician's assistant. And then any of you who are looking to go overseas to get into med school, or just, this is just a good video. I think I'm going to title it, Before You Go to Med School, Nurse Practitioner, Physician's Assistant, because it covers a wide array of topics. So thanks for sending that, Doc. If any of you other docs, and he paid for this. Keep in mind he was kind enough to pay for this, because you guys know I don't work for free. But I'm thinking, for $30-40 here or there, if we can save millions of dollars and scores or hundreds, ideally, of young people from going and wasting their lives in medical schools, especially the scam ones, we're definitely doing the Lord's work here. So I'm making a profit on it too. All right, we'll talk to you kids later. Toodles.